We getting anything now? There we go. I think the cord had gotten loose. Anyway, Impromptu unboxing. There we go. Hope I didn't hit it right as it came back on. So yes, I've got my camera up as high, so I'll show you the box. The complete set is 2 boxes. Very heavy. Definitely like a few pounds. 5 pounds. I don't know. So here's box 1. I've got this now turned, so yeah. This is how they are. Some of them have fallen over a little bit. Okay. And box 2. Can show off some of the, I don't know if you paid attention to Reaper Live, you'd know they mentioned they have different color labels for the different things. So here, they're going to be metallics and like your additives. Here they've got some, they made some metallic mediums. But yeah, they're all those additives are all those colors, and then these are the actual metallics. And regular colors are that red. It is a lot of paint. All right, I've got some paper here that's meant for acrylics. I would say cardstock, but it's not quite cardstock. It's definitely got like a texture to it. Only on one side. So I'm just gonna go through and just kind of do it a little dollop of each color, and you can just see how they all look on just the plain white. I'll make sure to give them a good shake. So I'm just kind of I've got the boxes now facing with the lid in the back if it were open, and I'm pulling from the back, and so I believe it's going to go through a bunch of breads from the looks of it. I've actually had this for like a week and a half, but wow, these are on good. There we go. Let's see if I got it shaken up enough. Well, that's good. I should turn this. So that is Requiem Red. I don't know if these are in any particular order. order, or if they'll be in the same order in every box. This is Phoenix Flame. That's one way to test it. I have a feeling my red got a little bit mixed around. So there are some other dark reds. That's definitely not the only dark red. And that last one was Phoenix Flame. I forgot if I showed that. This is Blush Pink. Monster Maw. Should be putting a little. These are really smooth there. There we go. Here's some of the another dark red. Yes, I am. Yeah. I got to try out Blood Red and what was it? The Brilliant Green when they did the freebies. Bloodstained Red. Another dark. I get the feeling I didn't get that fully shaken up. Get some water. This is more of a brown, auburn hair. It's a really great shadow, or even a mid-tone if you want, for any type of auburn. If you're going more red, then I like this color. It reminds me, I think it's shadow. I think it was called like Auburn Shadow, but so got cat hair. I'm gonna bring the camera down. There we go. And that way I don't need the backlight as much. Take this out as well. That's back. We'll see how many we fit on this paper. Maybe we can fit all of them. I've got another paper already pulled out. So here's next one, Cobalt Scale. It's another kind of dark red. There's good old blood red. We got brilliant red. That is cool now that they've got these descriptions. Oops. Got the first one to need the pokey tool. And you can see these are already almost dry. Those first ones we did. This one's pretty much dry. Maybe I'll just leave it that close. Let's see. I don't know if I actually shook this. I total paints, I believe. Both of the labels say they can't contain 100 bottles, so 200. That's including like all the additives and primers as well. Yeah. Should make it much more manageable for like stores to be able to carry the whole line, and then I think from here on out they're going to be a lot more mindful about, like, if they do create any new like special colors, that it is really just going to be a like special run as opposed to getting back to having a huge paint line. So this was Magma Red. I don't use oil paints. No, I don't like having to deal with the cleaning it up. It's possible you came in on part of the conversation about oil paints when I was maybe talking to someone else. Because I know I have talked about that before. So we got Infernal Red, described as a deep, warm red. So another darker red. Not quite as dark as what we had up here. definitely want to start marking the paints just so that I don't get. Yeah, I think it's definitely an improvement. Got light red hair. I also got one set of the bottle toppers. These are the Elithids, Kasudu, I guess. Right. Got Dawn Pink. This is one of the first single pigment ones that they made. Elemental oranges, or orange. I believe it's both the ones that say elemental and the ones that say earthen are both single pigment, which naturally, yep, is a little bit more transparent. It's kind of to be a little bit of expected of just the pigment itself. Kirin pink, I think. I'm assuming that's how you say it. So lots of pinks, really, actually. And like a good, I think there's a better variety. I didn't have their whole, I mean, granted, I didn't have their whole line of, you know, however many paints they had gotten up to. Sunrise orange. I liked the regular one, the old one. So, oh, that's definitely not. There we go. So, yeah. Oh, we got cult favorite. Try and bring this down there. Maybe. Burgundy wine, if you couldn't guess. If you watch Reaper stuff, then you'd get the reference of that. I think that might be most of the reds. There might be a few other ones that got mixed around. That doesn't look right. Shake it up some more. Volcanic orange. It kind of reminds me of lava orange a bit. I don't remember if lava orange stayed in or if this was maybe a replacement. Got our first yellow so far. It's golden blonde hair. Next one is called Pharaoh's Tomb, which I haven't painted up my what is it? Tombs of the Cure, I think. From Bloom 6. This looks really light. Can I still have this light on? I don't know if that helps you kind of see the difference between those two yellows, but they are actually, well, I guess I can see differences in colors pretty well. To me, there's some they do look actually very different on there. Nope, there was a lava orange. What's that? We do still have lava orange. Well, I think that was the volcanic right there, so it is a A little bit darker than lava. Eventually, I plan to get more bottle toppers, but for now, I'm gonna go through all of these and then I'll pick out my, I guess, my favorites. And then I'll paint the bottle toppers in those colors. I'm gonna do it on a different time because I feel like this itself is already gonna take up quite a bit of time just to go through all the paints. This is Zenith Yellow. I don't know if you can even, yeah, I guess you can see that against the white on the camera. Yeah, there's definitely a good variety of colors here. Some are definitely different than I think what I have had access to in my mix of hodgepodge of colors. Got good old lemon yellow. I've used this a lot in the past just to build a highlight, either yellow or green. Add it into either to another orange. Oh, no worries. I understand that. I will be posting it on my YouTube. And of course, there'll be the VOD when this is all done. But yes, go get some sleep. Fire orange. I can see myself using this as a highlight for lava, even. We got kind of a yellowish orange. Ooh, this kind of reminds me of burnt orange. I don't think I have that out. I saved some colors out on my paint racks because I don't want to waste good paint. Still pretty decent paint. Regular the MSP original. I think this was another one they did already have, but I never had this color. If they did, I think this was another one they technically, like you can technically get. I think you might be able to get this now in the old formulation. Ooh, I like that color. almost need to like show the colors after they've gotten dried so there's not the shine reflecting off of it. Maybe I'll try to do that. I'll at least try to, I'll at least take a picture of it later if I forget to show it off at the end. Oh, here's a red we got out of place. Heraldic red. And here's one of those earthen colors that I was talking about. And my understanding is this would have been the oxide. So the elementals were what used to be called the clears, and the earthen colors are what used to be known as like the oxides. Which you can see why it's definitely earthen. I've used the red oxide mixture with mixed with mixed in. Here we go. With the oxide brown, and makes a really nice kind of like lacquered wood kind of look. Used it on my tavern set in from the Green Griffin set in the bones. I think I added like a tiny bit of even the oxide yellow. Ooh, got the Hakir gold. I have that. I do not have that. That's another one that is actually, they had this in the Bone 6 Kickstarter set of paints. It is a nice option for like a kind of a slightly different mid-tone. It'd be the mid-tone color for gold M&M. I may have to do like a further testing or streams or something like that. I think this is probably gonna go a little too late for me to do all of the paints at once. So this is red hair. Which I believe up, I think that might have been the auburn, so that's like a nice shadow for that. I think it was that one. Sorry. This is salamander orange. Strong yellowish orange. It's golden glow. Kind of almost like a torchlight or candlelight yellow. I think torchlight was one of the, like a special color, so I don't know if that one made it through. Got our first green, and then it's another color that you can actually still get in the old formulation. This is Ancient Oak. It's one of my favorite dark greens. Ooh, yeah, that's pretty. A little bit there, and then you can see a little bit better. Right now we've got, because it's wet paint, we've got reflections. There are a couple more yellows I can see. Oh, wait, for sure. This is another green, forest green. Elven green. Here's another yellow. Pale blonde hair. Another green, a little bit more light. This was another green I really like. Even in the old formulation. Quite often if I'm doing kind of a green cloak, I'll reach for this. mossy green. Ooh, there's another one that's like a really nice dark green. Kind of more of a dark olive green. Which actually is exactly what it says. It's a dark olive green. Boggy. That was another one that was in the Bones Kickstarter. But the one I had, at least in the Bone 6, was oh, this probably wasn't fully mixed. Still better than but anyway, as I was saying, the one I got in the Bone 6 Kickstarter was very, very thin and very runny. This is already much better, even though I definitely didn't get it fully shaken. Could see a little bit of the medium kind of not fully meshed there. And I got another yellow. These have been sitting for almost 2 weeks, so in the box, so at least 2 weeks here. So I mean, these are all going to be relatively new batches, you know, but still, this is a nice, really vivid yellow, light, warm yellow. Here's another elemental color. So this is probably, hey there, H-combs. I agree. I like their new labels. This is probably gonna be another pretty transparent one, just because it is supposed to be single pigment. And as far as what I've learned about yellow itself, I think it's yellow and magenta both have just their pigments in general do not cover without adding other pigments. Yeah, the names are fun, for sure. A little air bubble. Is that Steamforge? Not as familiar with who SFG is. Ah. I've heard about some of their troubles with like their miniatures. Like their miniature lines or yeah, I've heard P3 as being a good paint line. Yeah, Goblin Skin up next for the orange Goblin Camp. Oh, and now we did. So we had the clear yellow, which is now elemental yellow. So now we've got earthen yellow, which used to be the yellow oxide or oxide yellow. got the dark blonde hair. We had light blonde. It was either light blonde or pale blonde earlier. Yep, I'm just testing out the new paints. Reaper's new formulation. I was in wave 1. Which, from the sounds of it, they are already wrapping up on wave 1, which means they're done with wave 1 before they were even planning to start wave 1. So they are so far ahead of the game. So originally they were saying it was gonna be September. But yeah. Nice, yeah. So far they are looking really nice. I can show you the dried ones. I'm really only doing like 2 or 3 drops. We got good old lantern yellow or orangey yellow. That is definitely not fully mixed. You can see the slight separation. Just gonna take that off a bit. Yeah, I wanted to do something like this. I've already got this kind of a paper which is built to use acrylic paints on. Brilliant green, which I already know that I like. So they had done kind of some freebie if you spent $10 earlier this year, and this was one. Yeah, it's a nice bright kind of mid-tone green. Again, kind of hard right now to see. So it's also getting a little overexposed because of the white. Did I still? I'll take a picture of it when things are all done, all dried. And I'll get even more of an accurate view for everyone else. Yeah, candlelight yellow, which I figured would be in here. Got another elemental color, which actually Anne was talking about this on the Reaper stream. That it's if you like the phthalo green and canvas paints, then you're going to be pretty used to this because it's the same pigment. but it's going to be one of those single pigments, and all you have to do is add in a little bit of yellow, and you'll have a nice yellow green. I'll probably end up using that a lot actually, because sometimes I just can't quite find just the right yellow green that I want. Oops. We got dragon green. Still got some of those dragon colors. You can tell that even though this is pretty close to this, but it's covering a little better since it's not a single pigment. I just got paint on me. Pine green, getting into more of those olive greens. Don't think it's as dark as the boggy, because I think that right there was the boggy green. I think I didn't get this quite shook up, but still pretty good actually. I mean, that's why there are various paint lines, is I mean, you can't have, no paint line can really have like every single possible mixture of pigments in a paint line. So, you know, if one paint line's got the colors you want, then that makes sense. So this is another olive green. I feel like Reaper has definitely, with these new set of paints, has a good variety for each color. That goes on really well. All of these have gone on pretty decent. Some better than others, although some of that's also maybe due to not shaking well enough. Got dragon turtle teal. I'm wondering if this is. Still not fully. I can tell it's still not quite shaken up. I can see kind of a line here where there's basically it would be the mediums not fully mixed in. Another green. See if we can at least finish out this box tonight, and then I might stop at the first box. This is probably the more interesting of colors. The other ones are going to be a lot of the. It looks like there's a lot of grays and whites and a lot of the neutral colors, I should say, is basically in the other box, along with the additives and metallics. That kind of almost, yeah, that reminds me of their old orc skin almost. A little less grayed out. I never actually really liked that. The orc skin. Ooh, this cap was a little funky. Got Hydra Green. So it'll be nice to have a nice variety of olive greens, because that was something that I mean, Reaper itself, you know, if you know the history of why they're part of the reason they did this new formulation, it's because their line had just gotten so huge. So there probably were more varieties of olive green, I just didn't have them. So it will definitely be nice to have kind of fill in some of the holes that I had as far as color choices. Yeah, that's a nice olive green. I like that. Getting it on my hand. This is one of my favorite colors to use in undead for undead flesh. Currently, I'm using up some other colors. I think I actually already used this one in the old MSP, I think. So I'm actually painting some ghouls, and I currently am using like pale like this one for my kind of pale green. But like kind of it's hard to see how. Yeah, it's a fun color to use. I got blue, frost blue. That's not fully mixed together. First blue color out of the box. Swatch. Siren Song. This will probably be one I go to when I do my teals. It's nice. Good old Phantom Glow. So again, I'm only doing like 2 drops and I'm getting pretty good coverage there over the white. Ooh, Dungeon Slime. And of course, moss green, which is kind of like much more vivid, saturated. Whenever I want to go more saturated, I do moss green. If I want to go more muted, but still get that really bright light green, then that's when I usually will turn to Dungeon Slime. You can see just how much more saturated it is. It's actually almost a little bit darker now than Dungeon Slime. They used to be a lot similar. Cat's Eye Green. Lots of good yellow greens here. These would be your mid-tone and highlights for those darker olive greens. Olive green is going to be your, it's really just another way of saying a yellow green. Wilderness green. And I'm personally not paying close attention, but they do have an opacity meter, so you can see, how there are still, some differences in coverage just because of pigments, not paints. This one definitely is going to need a lot, very well shaken up. That's better. Still not fully mixed. It's like a nice green though. This is labeled as low. Low opacity, meaning it's should be actually easily transparent. Which, yeah, if you add more water to it, Like I filled my brush with water. Can very easily get it to be see-through. Naga green, which I used to not like this color until it was recommended to me to use it to mix in to greens to kind of get some more of that strong green. It says labeled as like a strong yellow green. Okay, we got Surf Aqua. All right, I'm gonna do one more. We'll call it after this one. We'll just do one more color. There's still like 3 or 4 more rows in this one box, and then there's the whole other box. This marine teal. It's another one that you can still get in the old formulation. Pretty good. Kind of mid-tone. I guess depending on how like light you're going for. Could also be your shadow for teal. And then you add in some of the other greens if you want this to get a bit more green. Sorry, I had this too far off stream. To get it more green than the blue. It's kind of what you have to do with teals when you're doing mixes and shadows and then highlighting. You have to kind of keep going back and forth between blues and greens, even with these teals, even with using teals. Sometimes you have to add in an actual green or an actual blue. But we'll stop there. That's all the paints we've tried out tonight so far. I'm not really trying. This was basically watching this VOD, and when I actually swatch it, is gonna basically be your chance to know which color is which. I'm not gonna try and go back and try and label them at this point. So, yeah, but we're gonna stop there for tonight, and I'll get back to finishing swatching the rest of the paints. It'll be another random impromptu. So thanks for joining, and hope you had some fun. And I'll see you later. Bye.